I'm at the Southampton Boat Show and I've just seen this absolutely magnificent vintage craft behind us here. So I've collared Tiger here, who's the bosun. Hello, Tiger.
Hello, how you doing?
Very well. I'm fascinated by this. What is it?
Well, what we have here is a 1936 high-speed launch. She was built by the British Powerboat Company in Hythe in 1936. And as you can see, she's got roundels, so she actually belongs to the RAF Marine Craft Section. Her primary role was to go and collect down pilots during the war. So what they needed was a high-speed boat capable of 40 knots in her day. She was to go out there, pick up our pilots, bring them all home. Herself, she actually picked up 38 pilots of various nationalities. As they say, the sea shall not have them.
Brilliant. Let's go and have a look, shall we?
Yep. If you'd like to come along.
It's a smart looking boat, I have to say.
Oh, she's absolutely gorgeous, she is. Here's one of the interesting facts about her. We can just stop just here.
Yeah.
Now, if we can work it out, she is half double diagonal construction.
Right.
So, firstly, half double diagonal. So, what we're going to do is we're going to see this forward section up here. If we can turn around and get the light right, you might be able to make out the plank lines on it.
Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah. So that's a single skin up there.
Okay.
But as we come further back, there's a ridge here.
I can see it.
Yeah, and that's where she goes into double diagonal, and there's an extra planking on top of that.
Right.
And that's to make her all much stronger and sort of a lot tougher where all the weight of the boat is, because there's nothing in the front of the boat. It's all lightweight.
Got you.
But it's a lightweight boat. She weighs 17 tons in total.
Okay.
So the double diagonal back here is to take the weight of the fuel and the thrust from the engines. So what we do, we head aft and go aboard.
Brilliant. And what actual wood is it, do you know?
She's mainly mahogany.
Yep.
I believe the frames are ash.
Right.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Right. So we'll just start here and I'll make our way forward, shall we?
Perfect. Thank you.
So, as I say, built in 1936,
yep.
Served to being picking up pilots during the war, but after the war she wasn't immediately demobbed. She was converted for target towing. So if you look at our transom here, she has two large Samson posts.
Got you.
For the conversion of that, they also reinforced the whole of the transom to make it nice and strong.
Yep.
So she could tow targets around to train the next generation of pilots.
That's fantastic.
So there's a little officer's cabin down here.
Yep.
Then what we do, we stop at the engine room.
Okay.
So originally, down in the engine room, she had a trio of Napier sea lines, which are the Napier Lion engine that's been marinised to be able to run in the boat, and I believe they're about 750 horsepower apiece.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to run them nowadays, and we haven't got them. I'd love to have them.
Yep.
But as you could imagine, they're museum pieces themselves. So down in the engine room here, we're now running a trio of high-speed diesels. They are FPT, fit powertrain.
Okay.
And basically they're the Iveco truck engines.
Right.
If anybody's interested, the NEF series. They're about 400 horsepower apiece. And as I say, we're running a trio.
Yeah.
So the two wing engines up here on the port and the starboard side are in our standard configuration. So engine, gearbox, shaft and out the back.
Got you.
But our centre engine, which is tucked under the steps there.
Yep.
There she is. She's turned around backwards.
Ah, okay.
And she runs forward into a V-drive gearbox.
Understood.
And which does a 180 rotation and then sends it out via the prop shaft underneath the engine.
Fantastic.
And a little interesting fact, the V-drive gearbox down there, which we can just about make out underneath the sole boards, that's an original 1940s V-drive.
That's under here.
Yeah, right down underneath the sole boards there.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, amazing bit of kit.
Stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And what sort of speed do you get with those?
With these, we can top out at 30 knots.
Right, so it's still a fast boat.
When we launched her after doing underwater work at the beginning of the year, bringing her back, we touched 34 knots, but we had a clean bottom and a very light fuel load.
Yeah, brilliant. Does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. head down below now.
Okay.
So the small compartment just here, this is where the radio officer used to live.
Yep.
All with kitted up with all his radios so he could communicate with aircraft and other vessels and all sorts of communications as necessary.
Fantastic.
Then up here in the bridge, we're actually above the fuel tanks now. So the centre tank is 1,200 litres, and the two wing tanks, they're about 600-700 litres each.
Right. Got you.
And they would have been that size during the war when she was running her Napier engines. So they always had a larger reserve on the centre engine.
Right.
So as you can see, we've got modern instrumentation suite with sat-nav, VHF, and all the modern instrumentation.
Yep. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And these, I guess, are the throttle controls.
Yeah. So she's separate. So we've got 3 throttles just here.
Yep.
And on the other side, we've got 3 gears.
Wow.
And that enables us to do all our slow speed manoeuvring.
Yeah.
Because funny enough, the rudders on this boat are tiny.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're about that by that.
Yeah.
So they work fine when we're doing 30 knots, but when we're going slowly, it does a little, but we mainly drive it like a catamaran and sort of using the engines to manoeuvre and moor.
Understood.
So what we do is we head down once more.
Perfect, thank you.
So down here we commonly call this the saloon, but this is where they would have just loaded up all the airmen when they would have picked up.
Yep.
So, you know, there could have been multiple of chaps there because during the day, you know, there were 8 aircrew on a Lancaster, so they needed the space.
Yeah.
And what we can actually do is we can see what I was talking about earlier when we were looking at the hull. This is all the single skin.
Yes.
Really lightweight.
Yeah, that's
So
these sections here. Got you.
So you can see the plank stringers just there, multiple lightweight frames backed up with inner stringers, and that's all tied together to give it immense strength. It's actually aircraft design. They were using it during the war, building the aircrafts using the same sort of concept.
Wow.
And then further forward, again we sort of refer to this as the forward saloon and the galley now, but we believe originally this would have been racked out with bunk beds so they could just get as many crew on board as possible.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So the crew of this boat would be sleeping on it and staying on it.
They might have kipped down in the aft cabin for short periods.
Right.
During a patrol.
Yeah.
They may have used it if they were patrolling and doing a turnaround from a different base. Let's say if they're doing a long patrol along the channel, they'd start at their base, go to a port, refuel, get their head down for the night, turn around and come back again.
Brilliant. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful, the boat.
Yeah, stunning.
And you can actually see the lovely flare of the bows just here.
Yes, the way it sort of sweeps out that way. That's fantastic.
And I was saying earlier to another gentleman that these boats, they didn't rely on the keel for their strengths. Their keel is actually very lightweight.
Right.
What they relied on was their engine beds.
Oh, okay.
So if we notice along here, we've got this ladder effect here.
Yeah.
These are actually extensions of the outboard engine beds that run all the way aft back to the engine room.
Wow.
So they use that to tie it all together to give more strength to the boat. So they used to have multiple lightweight layers.
So it's like a chassis.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Wow, I had no idea. And then right up at the very front here. Oh.
Yeah.
Aha.
Little heads and an anchor locker.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh yes, that's in there. And again, we can see the framework in there as well a little bit.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's absolutely incredible.
There we go. And you can see down there, even the frames down here, they're all lightweight and very simple construction.
Yeah.
There's no real There's no dovetails.
Right, right.
It's very simple joinery that was easy to do and easy to construct. And down there you can see that's the keel, and there's not a lot to it.
Indeed.
All lightweight.
Yeah, of course. Because that's the enemy of speed, isn't it, on a boat, is the weight.
Yeah. As I said earlier, she weighs 17 tonnes.
Yeah. And what?
She's 64 foot long.
64 foot, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's an absolute pleasure to drive.
Amazing.
Absolute pleasure.
Fantastic.
I'm going to pop up to the bridge again.
Yep.
Then this being one of the very early designs of what we call the deep V's and the shallow V's, that's sort of the research and development, one can argue, that they discovered that this particular size and type of vessel, they sort of ploughed their way through a wave. They didn't sort of ride over the top of it.
I've got you, yeah, just punch through it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I've actually got a photograph of this boat, and she's just shouldering her way through a wave at the time. And all you can see, if we look up there, is the masthead light. That's all you can see.
Wow. That's right up there.
The rest is just an absolute explosion of spray.
That's incredible.
And yes, we really do need the clear screens.
Oh, of course, yeah. So these clear screens, they spin at super high speed. So as soon as any water touches them,
there we go.
You can see it go.
Them up. Squeak, 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 squeak.
So they basically fling the water off. So it's much more effective than windscreen wipers, because obviously windscreen wipers is only clearing and it's spray getting behind it. Yeah.
It's just coming up to speed now, and that just throws all the water off the sideways, so the helm and the lookout can just peer through those.
Amazing. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And what's at the stern here?
So that's just a small cabin at the back there. As we're at the boat show, we've got some stock in the back there.
Got you.
We believe that's where the officers would have slipped down there, or if need be, pile some more airmen.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
That's been brilliant, Tiger. Just tell us a little bit about your organisation in case anyone's interested.
Oh yes, well, HSL 102, along with about 30 other boats, all belong to the Portsmouth Historic Quarter. We're based in the historic dockyard in Portsmouth, Boathouse 4, where we restore and maintain our sort of small craft collection. So our oldest boat is about 1890, and she's a little steam cutter, fully operational.
Wow. And
we've also brought our youngest boat to the boat show as well, which is a Falklands era landing craft that belonged to HMS Fearless, and she was built in 1962.
Wow. Okay, so that's the newest.
Yeah, that's our youngest boat. I am discounting our new toy, which is a replica.
Right.
The volunteers, we've got a small core of staff, and they're backed up by what I like to refer to as our superstar volunteers, because they are. They built, I'd like to say, a replica of a 1917 CMB, coastal motorboat.
Right.
So, to keep it short, it's a 40-foot speedboat that does 40 knots and carries a torpedo.
Right, wow, okay.
And it carries a torpedo backpack style.
Yep.
So if we imagine that's the boat, there's the torpedo on top of it there.
Gotcha.
And the helm would dodge and dive, come in approaching his target.
Yep.
It's shallow draft, so she'd go over minefields.
Right.
She could even jump and skim over anti-torpedo nets.
Okay.
And then she'd accelerate up to about 38 knots, then push the torpedo off the back behind her.
Oh wow, okay.
So for a short moment, you're looking behind you and you're going, I'm being followed by my own torpedo.
You're right.
Then the skipper would carefully peel away to one side, and the torpedo would maintain its straight course hopefully hitting its target.
That's incredible. Wow, you'd have had to have balls of steel to do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And the design of the boat is absolutely phenomenal. It's a stepped hull in 1917.
Wow.
We see all the modern powerboat races all using the stepped hull design, and she's an absolute pleasure to helm.
Brilliant. And if people want to come and see these, they can do that?
Yes, we're based at Boathouse 4, the historic dockyard in Portsmouth.
Okay.
Feel free to pop in.
Brilliant. And a website, presumably?
Yep, Boathouse 4.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well,
Tiger, that's been superb. I'm so pleased to have seen that. I really am. It's been fascinating. It's been fascinating talking to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments as ever. That is something truly different and something truly fascinating. And we'll catch you on one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.